time has come. Now it's your turn. To sit on the edge of your seat, tune your ears into the GeekVerse, and take a leap of faith into Assassins Creed Episode 7, featuring your hosts, Taylor Field and Ruben Olsen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with episode 7 of Geeks Creed. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. This is a very special episode because, as you know, Ruben wasn't able to join us on the GeekVerse review for the Assassin's Creed film, but you guys are very, very lucky because he is here right now in front of this microphone, and he is going to do just that. He's going to give you his review. So, Ruben, what did you think of the film?
I thought it was 9 out of 10. It was okay. Bye. Bye, everyone. No, actually, let's go in depth about that because that's not my score for the movie at all. Oh, where do I start? Well, from the beginning, I'll probably go off some of the negative things. Mm-hmm. We sat down, we watched the movie. You know, the credit crawl came up, and it was just that bunch of text that slapped you in the face with some history about the Apple of Eden and the Assassins and the Templars, and felt that was a bit too much to cram in there, like just to say to everyone, hey guys, here's all the stuff you need to know to watch the movie on one screen. Read it in 10 seconds. Yeah. All right, guys, now you know what you need to know. Let's watch the rest of the movie now.
So it works for Star Wars, but not here.
They could have cut it shorter and just said, hey, the Apple of Eden is this big thing, because that's what the movie was about. Mm-hmm. So let the audience know that to start off with. And then open into maybe some of the Templars talking about the Apple of Eden and how the assassins are maybe still a threat or they're all locked up or whatever they're doing right there, right? But no, it didn't really go that route, unfortunately. We did get to see Callum's childhood, running back home to his mother, and then his mother was dead. That was a super confusing scene. Right off the bat, I was kind of lost. I felt it could have been a little bit better, because he's doing his thing, skateboarding and biking, and he gets hurt or whatever, and then he goes home, and oh, it's dead mom. Oh, he didn't look very sad at first or very shocked. He just kind of walked home like he was really pissed off about something. And then I guess his dad was there. It wasn't really made clear right away. Mm-hmm. And then Templars came, and it started to get a little bit better once they got through their conversation. Kind of got a sense of what was going on. I mean, it took me a few minutes to really grasp where the movie was going with its opening plot, and I think the audience was left really confused with that.
Yeah. After
that, though, I was starting to enjoy it some more. As the movie progressed, you know, it started to do a lot of things right. It focused on Callum's story, him being in prison, the Templars being there in the beginning, and then the preacher coming up. He was one of the Templars, right?
I'm assuming
you saw him beforehand with the Templars. That was such a good cue for the audience to know, oh, hey, this is one of these weird guys coming to grab Callum, right? Mm-hmm. So I liked that. And then eventually we got to the title drop part. They changed that from the trailer, and I was so happy. They called them the Assassin's Brotherhood, not the Assassin's Creed. Thank you, God. Thank you. That's where the movie really picked up for me, because I was dreading that. Again, though, with the prison sequences, there were some awkward moments. Callum kept saying, I'm hungry. And instead of getting him food, he was walked around the facility only to say, I'm hungry again later. Mm-hmm. Then walked somewhere else. And you could kind of see that they were trying to push all this backstory and history of Assassin's Creed onto the audience, but they were leaving the characters out of it. Mm-hmm. So it was almost a bit too meta in a sense. It didn't feel fitting because it should be more natural and fluent for the characters to already know these things. Mm-hmm. You have to discover it and show it to the audience in some other way. Like Callum didn't know anything, so it was good when they were explaining things to him. But then we got the Templars explaining the history to each other, which made no sense. Mm-hmm. Like the big bad guy walks into a room with the old lady or whatever to talk about the Apple of Eden, but she opens with history about the Templars, stuff that they both already know.
Yeah.
So that's just information for the audience, and moments like that were the worst that the movie did. Mm-hmm. But what the movie did really well was setting the tone and the atmosphere, making it feel like Assassin's Creed. That build up into getting into the Animus, being shot into the past and getting to follow Aguilar's story a little bit, which I do kind of wish there was more of. I felt like it skipped around a bit. But despite that, it was enjoyable to watch all those scenes. I really liked all of that.
So the scenes where he was going in the past and it was combined with the present in the Animus, and it was kind of very, I don't know how you call it, it would be cutting back and forth between Aguilar and then Callum in the Animus. Did that pull you out of being in that moment in the past with Aguilar at all? Or did you find that it went very fitting and went along well with the scene?
No, it was a bit of both.
Yeah.
There were moments to start off with where they did it really well. And there were a couple of points during the middle of a fight where it just felt like a quick flash. And it was like, why? They need some kind of a transition in between the past and present, or the bleeding effect. Show maybe like the two characters on top of each other more, just like that holographic form, and bleed that back into the past more, because they would cut out to him doing something really suddenly and then cut right back into the fight scene. Those were the parts I didn't like for the Animus present day stuff.
The transitions. So when you have Callum Lynch learning and kind of experiencing everything in the Animus, did you like how they kind of mimicked Assassin's Creed 2 in the sense where he was learning how to fight, and like it was kind of weird where he was seeing like himself and he was fighting himself?
That was a little weird.
Yeah.
Just him fighting in front of those one-way mirrors and everyone else could just watch him. No, I wouldn't do that.
No.
I would have been happy if they just let the audience assume he knew all that stuff now from being inside the Animus and he just knew how to do it. It didn't have to watch him practice it.
You don't think it kind of went in with him kind of just losing it a little bit? Like when he was singing at that one point?
Yeah, he was losing it, but fighting, you think the Templars wouldn't want the Assassins to be practicing their moves. So that was a little off.
I guess because they don't really need to practice it, do they? Because they just learn it. It's just in there. They know how to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel like the Templars kind of, why did they delay the fact that they could have found Callum way sooner when Callum was a little kid? Because obviously it's like Marion Coulthard said, her character said that they were watching Callum for such a long time. They could have easily gotten him years and years ago and found the apple so much sooner.
Well, I think it was because they were using his father, right? And then he kind of went a little loopy and they didn't have use for him anymore.
Yeah.
So they probably were trying to push his father too far, and then once they used him up, they had to go find Callum. But they were keeping tabs on him before in case that happened.
See, the thing that I took from that is I'm pretty sure that Callum and the mother were the descendants of Aguilar. The father, I'm pretty sure wasn't. I don't think. I think because you're right, they did use him for some other means, but that's why he killed the mom, because he knew the mom had that bloodline of Aguilar connecting to the apple. But then he says in the movie he couldn't kill the boy. Now, did you know that, because it was kind of at the end where they show it, but did you kind of pick up that in the past Aguilar and Maria, the female partner of his, the assassin, they were together?
Yeah, I saw that.
You picked up on that? Okay. Yeah, because that kind of confused people, because near the end, it looks like when she steps out with the other fated assassins, she looks like Marianne Coulthard, and Coulthard, she kind of looks over and sees it, and they both look alike, even though they're not the same people, so that kind of confused people in that aspect. Did you like that end scene with the assassins?
We'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, I did enjoy that. Back to like the prison and stuff though, like leading up to their eventual escape. I really enjoyed how the prisoners didn't like Callum very much. They were thinking that he was going to betray them and just lead everyone right to the apple, and it wasn't going to work out. I would have liked to see more of that, but I do like what they did. And then him just kind of going through that transitionary phase where he learned all the creed and the morals and stuff and was like, oh, hey, I have to protect the apple. That could have been longer, because it felt like he just kind of realized it, which makes sense for the Animus, I suppose, because you just get all that stuff, all that knowledge in your head. But I would have liked to see Callum maybe transition more, struggle with it a little bit, and then gain the trust of his prison buddies instead of just going, oh, hey guys, I'm here to help now.
So how did you feel about his prison buddies? Like specifically Michael K. Williams?
They were all pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you feel like they had enough character development compared to Callum?
No, but they didn't really need it.
Yeah?
Because they weren't, we never really got to see them in the past or more of their interactions with the main characters. They were just supporting cast, so it was okay. They were fine. It was really more Callum's story.
I like that scene where they're doing all the crazy stuff and he's just trying to eat his dinner and he's like, what the fuck's going on? Like, he just trips out.
When the guy brings in the apple and puts it down in front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was clever.
Why do you think that the other assassins didn't try talking to him and try to bring him in on their side? Instead, they just wanted to kill him.
I would have assumed that the Templars were watching this. You know, they're probably thinking, hey, if they try to drag him over to their side, you know, we gotta stop him. We gotta kill someone. They're probably threatened not to try and bring him over quietly like that.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like they gave the assassins a bit too much, like, freedom?
Yeah, definitely. That was odd.
Yeah.
There are a lot of flaws. I mean, there are so many flaws we could talk about for this movie, but at the end of it all, it was Assassin's Creed. That's what I went in there to watch, and that's what I was viewing the whole time we were sitting down in the theater watching the movie all the way through. Is I wasn't looking to point out every critical little detail, like, oh, he's not acting well enough. Oh, that line of dialogue was really bad.
Yeah.
I was just enjoying it for what it was because it captured the video games pretty well. Having to start fresh, oh, they had to rush so much into one movie, but okay, I get that. I let that slide and I enjoyed myself throughout the whole film, with a few exceptions. Leap of Faith in particular.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there was a single person that played the games that enjoyed that line of dialogue. And I know I just said I wouldn't point that kind of stuff out, but that is the one thing. That's the one thing that almost took me out of my enjoyment for this movie. That was really, really awful.
Yeah.
It's not a phrase the audience needed to hear because it wasn't explained to them very well. It's not a phrase the people who played the video games needed to hear because they already know what it is. Mm-hmm. They could have just dropped that line of dialogue completely. Maybe they'll change it on Blu-ray.
Maybe. I agree. That's something I mentioned on the other review. It's not something I was fond of. I took it as kind of like her saying it because he was reaching that 100% synchronization kind of thing. That's why it made the Animus kind of staticky, like, break a little bit. Because, I mean, Assassins, I guess they don't normally reach that 100% synchronization. I know that. I never do in the games.
I liked how they included that detail.
Yeah.
All this stuff about the Animus and the synchronization. And then when it shakes and he has, like, a seizure and stuff like that. That was all really cool. Mm-hmm. I like that struggle with Callum and the Animus and the girl. I forget her name. I'm sorry. I wasn't able to take notes in the theater very well. And there was other stuff going on, so I wasn't able to pay as much attention as I wanted to. But, I mean, what they did with the girl and Callum and the Animus, that was the movie, basically. The movie was about them, those three. And the Animus I'm including as a character. It was about that. Then we get to the third act. Oh, dear, the third act. That's where it fell apart.
Really?
That's
so tell me why.
It was just too much, too fast. Mm-hmm. And the whole movie was great. It was leading up. It was really long. I loved how I was thinking it was going to end on a cliffhanger, and I was thinking, damn it, I want to watch the sequel, and I'm not even out of the theater yet. I just want it to keep going so they can keep explaining things and make it better and bigger and solve the problems that they're bringing into the movie before the movie ends, but I know it couldn't happen, and then they stopped. The Apple of Eden was found. The Templars went away and just they left in a helicopter. Mm-hmm. And the assassins are clearly escaping, but they didn't stop them. They didn't really try very hard to look back and go, holy crap, there's all these people standing on the roof. We better keep this apple somewhere safe. We better hire security. No. The Templars decided to go hold the apple out in the open. Big public event, pretty much. Not very much security, maybe a couple bodyguards here and there. There was a lot wrong with that. I would have rather have seen it from Callum's side instead of just jumping right into the Templars doing their thing. I didn't need to see that they didn't hire any security. Just show me Callum and the other assassins gearing up and getting ready to follow them. Have them approach this huge building, sneak into it, and maybe take down some guards or something to make it look like there was some resistance. Mm-hmm. That would have been great. The scene where Callum was talking to the girl, though, before he went to assassinate.
Her father?
Yeah. That was pretty good. I enjoyed that. And how she didn't really become a good guy or stay a bad guy. She kind of stayed neutral on that whole thing.
Do you think she misinterpreted what he was going to do? Did you think she thought he was going to kill her?
No, I think at the end of it, she realized what he was going to do. Mm-hmm. But throughout it, she was thinking he was going to kill her. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, she was like, oh, okay.
So when you say you like how her character was kind of neutral and such, do you mean like at the end when she wants to get that revenge against Callum Lynch in that sense, or like just throughout the whole movie? Throughout
the whole movie, it was kind of shown to the audience that she wasn't on the same side as her father. Mm-hmm. She had some problems with that, but she never really became a good guy either. Yeah. And it was really apparent at the end when she made that decision. But yeah, then Aguilar and the assassins they dress up in some very quick assassin uniforms. It was all black. Okay, that's fitting. It fits in. They didn't look very cool.
No, you don't like the trench coat with the hood?
They could have added some more detail. the clothes themselves were cool, but make them stand out a little bit more. It wouldn't be fitting in that situation for them to sneak in flashy clothes, but for the sake of the audience, I think it didn't really make them stand out as characters.
Yeah.
It just made them blend in a bit too much.
Blend in.
I guess that's the point.
So when they pulled out the apple and he was using it and showcasing it, how did you feel about that? Like, you've seen the apple in the games, so the comparison between the two, how did you feel put on the big screen?
Lackluster.
Really?
I mean, it looked cool, and I was getting a little bit worried that something was going to happen with it, but I think that build up, all the shining stuff coming out of it, and then him just getting, stabbed. I don't know. They could have taken that somewhere else. Either have it not activate at all, show it glowing for a little bit, and then bam, he gets stabbed before anything happens, or go the whole way and show things start to change and people start getting affected and, the world starts to shift a little bit before he gets stabbed. But they did it halfway through before anything cool happened.
Yeah.
That didn't.
If the apple did work and it started tweaking and screwing with people like it's supposed to, do you think that would have left way too many more questions for the film, and people would have been like, what the heck's going on? This is supposed to remove violence and now it's like screwing people up. Do you think that would have been bad?
No, I mean, I think the audience would have gathered at this point that the movie is batshit insane. Pardon my language. And they did make it apparent on the assassin side that the Apple of Eden can't really be used that way. To stop violence, it's not the answer. It's going to do something wrong. It's going to make everyone into mindless sheep. They did a good job of explaining that. So if everyone was like having seizures on the ground, twitching, going, oh, Rotten Tomatoes scores horrible, then, that would have been more effective.
Yeah. So is there anything else you'd like to talk about near the end of the film? Or
there was an ending. They did leave it open for more. I would like to see a sequel.
Really?
I would like to see more Assassin's Creed movies. And this is something that I read online afterwards, that the movie would have been better as a TV series on Netflix. That would have been the best thing. I would have preferred that. They could have had way more time to explain things, to have backstory, and not cram it into history lessons that the Templars are talking about to each other. Could have focused like whole episodes of Callum in the prison.
Yeah.
Him trying to befriend his assassin buddies, stuff like that. It could have been longer. That would have made the movie good. But for what they did in such a short amount of time for a long movie, it was an enjoyable experience. I had fun. It was a fun movie.
So if this, and by the looks of it, it quite possibly could be, is the only Assassin's Creed movie we get, are you okay with it?
I'm neutral on that.
Yeah?
Really? It's there. It's a thing. And I'll watch it again. I'll buy an extended edition. I would like to see that.
Oh yeah, we'll do an extended review.
I would love to see an extended version of the movie or some cutscenes. Peer into it a little bit more. Watch it a second time around to get some more details that I missed.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, just to get more enjoyment out of it. Because it was fun to watch. That was the big thing about the movie, is it felt like an Assassin's Creed game. Not so much in the sense of the past, but in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
In the setting. They nailed the setting. They nailed the past sequences all being in Spanish. They nailed all of that stuff, but they didn't focus on making it a proper film. It almost did. It felt like a recap of a TV series. You know that?
Yeah.
If I had to explain the movie in one word, it's like watching a recap episode for a whole season of a TV show.
Yeah.
That's what the movie was. And that's not where you start watching something. You don't watch a recap episode to get into a show.
Yeah.
Right? You don't watch it to catch up on the next season. You watch it after you've watched the season so you can grab extra details you missed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I feel like I've said way more negative things about this movie than I was planning to, but I really did like it.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty great. And last episode, I think I tried to compare my prediction for it being close to Pacific Rim levels of good on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, people didn't enjoy Pacific Rim when it came out, but it slowly got more popular as it went on, as it focused in on its niche market, right? There were people that liked that kind of thing, and they were the ones that brought the movie up. And the rest of the world saw the movie and thought, hey, we like mecha over here in Japan and China and everywhere. They loved it. I was wrong, apparently. Assassin's Creed is a huge flop.
Yeah.
But then it is competing with Star Wars, so I'm going to blame Star Wars for that.
Blame Star Wars.
And I'm going to blame Ubisoft for picking such a horrible release date around Christmas time like that.
So, on that note, do you think they should have done the whole worldwide launch on January 1st?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, put it after the new year, after the Star Wars hype. That would have been better. Or even if they could have cranked it out before, maybe in the fall, when there's not a lot of good movies coming out. then you'll have more people going to see Assassin's Creed and probably more of the fans from the games going to see it right away. But in the end, despite the release date and squeezing in the last remainder of people to go see it that think it would be good, I think it really just comes down to the fans of the game are going to either enjoy it, love it, and maybe hate some aspects of it. And the audience, the general audience that hasn't played the games, is going to be left in the dark.
Yeah.
Confused. Which is what I was not expecting. I was really hoping from the trailers that they were going to explain things, be clear. They could have dropped elements from the games that were really confusing. They could have Hollywoodized it a little bit just to accept a larger audience.
Yeah.
I think it'll be okay once it's out on Blu-ray and DVD. I think it'll get some sales.
Yeah.
But
so,
do you think it's going to reach profit at all?
The 125 million?
Yep.
Its budget, you know, it all depends on the UK. Like, we're recording this, it's a couple days into the new year right now that we're recording this. I thought that they would have had the box office numbers out for the UK, but I mean, so far it's made 40 million over here on like North America box office. I mean, that's not good. I'm sorry. It's when it first came out opening night, it was at like 4.5 million it made opening night, and that was competing with Passengers, and it was beating Passengers in opening night, which is great because Passengers is getting bad. It's not doing good either as a film, but now it's beating Assassin's Creed. That's not good. It's I don't think it will get there, as much as I hate to say it. When you pulled up the stats for Pacific Rim, and it's like, Pacific Rim had 190 million budget, but it took over $411 million.
But it didn't really make its profit until the Asian country saw it.
Yeah.
And it didn't make the majority of its profit until it was released on Blu-ray and DVD. I mean, all that stuff was taken into account for the numbers that we saw. And Assassin's Creed probably won't make a profit for a long time. It could get there, but maybe not until after it's released for DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah. See, that's why I was hoping that they'd have the stats opened up from the UK, because there's so many more fans of Assassin's Creed in the UK. Ubisoft tailors to them by giving them special editions of the games and everything that's exclusively available there. And the fan base is much, much larger. As you said, Pacific Rims was much more in like Japan, China, etc. So I'm very curious to see how it does over there. I'm hoping. I doubt that they could make an 80 million.
I think it'll get the same. It'll be larger numbers, but the fans will look at the film, love it or hate it. And the audience that hasn't played the games will still be confused.
Oh, yeah.
You'll get more people seeing it, though. So that'll be good.
Yeah, that's true. That's all I can hope for right now. So at least there's a little bit of light in the darkness.
It might even do well in Japan, you know?
Yeah, you never know.
It's their kind of movie. It's crazy.
So from 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I'd probably give it a solid 7.
7?
6.5 or 7 now.
6.5 to 7?
It's had time to sink in. I still have to go rewatch it, and I think I might lower my score later as I become harsher and look at its flaws.
Really?
But the enjoyment that I'm getting out of it right now is, it's a solid 6.5, 7.
Okay, that's good. That's better than some of the ratings I've heard. That's for sure.
Well, ratings right now are really screwed up. I mean, the movie came out, and right away, before it was even released in theaters, its initial screenings had critics just nailing all of its flaws down and saying, this is a bad movie.
Yeah.
And that turned a lot of people away. And then you have all these people who are just, they're amazed and they love it and they give it the best reviews ever. And that's the minority. And then you have the majority giving it kind of mediocre or bad reviews. Because reviews right now, the rating systems, if you look at them, back in the 90s, ratings were, okay, this movie was average. I liked it. I'd give it about a 5. That was a good movie, a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
It was a good film that you would put money down. You would buy it. But nowadays, a good movie is an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
You wouldn't put money down until it's an 8 out of 10. If it's a 7 or below, it's horrible. It's trash.
Yeah.
It's garbage. So everyone's giving it like 3 and 4 now. And the people that love it are giving it a 10. So you just have to see it for yourself. If you enjoy the games, if you enjoy action, if you enjoy fantastic set pieces, lots of stunts, go watch it. That's what the movie's for. If you want Fight Club, something to think about, an amazing movie that has plot twists and turns, Ocean's 11 or whatever, no, it's not your kind of film at all.
Yeah.
It's not a thriller. It doesn't have a solid plot.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. On the note of the movie, there is the Assassin's Creed novel that's come out based on the movie. I picked that up. Heresy is also available now, but on the note of the novel, neither of us have read it yet, but
we took a look at it.
took a look.
It's pretty thick, and flipping through some of those pages near the beginning and the middle, it looks like, and we can't say for sure because we haven't read it, but it looks like it goes way more in depth. Maybe I think it even includes scenes that are not in the movie at all. It's just an Assassin's Creed novelization based on the movie.
Yeah.
Not a novelization of the movie's script into novel form.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool to read, but I mean, I really want to read it. But I know it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be a huge best-selling book.
Yeah.
I just want to see if it can fix what was wrong with the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the big thing.
It is written by the same author, Christy Golden, who did Assassin's Creed Heresy novel. She's a great author, so she must have a much better
She
take
probably looked at the movie and went, man, what's wrong with all this? And just decided to fix it. I'm changing this character. Nuh-uh. And she fixed it all.
Yeah. Well, that's something we're going to do in a future episode. Actually, we're talking off cast. Like, we're going to read the novel and such.
And another thing, of course, is how I was talking about it being better as a TV show. Netflix and Ubisoft now. Really hoping that Ubisoft picks a good franchise for their Netflix show, because I think it's basically confirmed that they're doing something, right?
Yeah, at this point, yeah, because I heard first from their head of creative content at Fan Expo, he said right out straight that, oh yeah, we're in talks with Netflix to make something, to get something happening. That was straight from their head of creative content's mouth.
So then what do you think we could see for a TV series? Because, okay, yeah, we have the Assassin's Creed movie, and Ubisoft is making a couple more movies, am I right?
Yeah, they have The Division that's in the works. They have Watch Dogs. That's another film being made. As far as I know, I think that's it.
Okay, well, Division and Watch Dogs are definitely not as popular as Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
So hopefully they will make an Assassin's Creed series for Netflix, and if it's not that, it'll probably be something like Far Cry, or what else have they been doing recently? What other games?
They got Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, Far Cry, Rainbow Six, all games I'd love to see as TV show. I
can't see any of them except Assassin's Creed or Far Cry.
Really?
Yeah, I don't see any of those becoming a TV show on Netflix.
Really? Not even Watch Dogs, possibly?
Based solely on the fact that the movie is still in the works? No.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd release the TV show and the movie at the same time. It's not a huge hit.
Yeah.
Where everyone's been like, oh wow, there's this great movie coming out based on all these books and games and stuff. Everyone has to go see this. No. You only get that with a movie that's been hyped up for years, and there's like a TV show, or like how Halo did their lead-ups with TV shows for the games that were coming out.
Yeah. So if they did go and they pull through with Assassin's Creed on Netflix, do you think that they should pick up kind of with the movie if the movie doesn't get its sequel, or should they just tackle something else entirely, a whole different story, a different assassin for a series?
They could bleed it into the movie. Easily. They could focus on one of the other characters in the movie, one of the other assassins. Make him the main character for a little while, go through his story through the movie, and then after he gets through the movie's plot, shift around between him and Callum, and then eventually focus entirely on Callum again. That's how they could continue it,
Yeah.
I think. Because they'd want to go back and they'd want to explain things more in depth, or they just do something entirely different.
Yeah. That's the downside, too, if they do transition to a TV show, is because those big-name actors, they don't go backwards to TV. It's like you're going up. You go from like TV to movie to something else. I don't know. But you don't go backwards.
Yeah, I think next time we'll have to check out Fassbender's opinion on the movie, because he has a lot of interviews and stuff out now, I think.
He does. And a lot, like for the most part, he's positive. It's his own movie. Of course, you're going to be positive about it. I think a lot of people that I've talked to, they say that they think that the movie made him look bad as an actor. Like, he was definitely a good thing about the film, but the movie brought him down and didn't deliver his performance. I think he he performed amazingly. And I feel like it's something that he is definitely proud of, because he's been attached to the project since 2011. Like, this has been in the works for a long time.
If anything, the only thing that would bring him down is the flaw of his character not being very emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a prisoner. He's done a lot of wrong. He doesn't feel a whole lot. He's got a lot of hate in him for his father, stuff like that. And he portrayed that. Outside of that emotional range, there wasn't a whole lot going on.
Yeah.
You'd have to save that kind of stuff for a sequel.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you think that they could carry over a sequel into a game, perhaps, or have some kind of tie-in to a game?
Those never work out right.
No, really? They've done that before with other things?
No,
You just don't do it, period.
games that are turned into movies and then have games based on the movie. I'm sorry.
see where you're
There's a
going.
law for this. There's a rule that those always suck. I would like to see a game maybe, but they'd have to start over with the movie.
Yeah.
In the game universe, they couldn't just carry on with the sequel. It would just be weird. Or if it was just a game version of the movie, that would also be weird.
That's something we talked about before. An Assassin's Creed movie, the game.
Yeah.
We talked about that a couple casts ago.
I would like to play it if it was a regular Assassin's Creed game and they actually just nailed it and went with that. But I don't know, man. If they went and they made a game based off the movie right now, it'd probably be some kind of weird third-person cutscene Telltale game. I don't know.
A Telltale Assassin's Creed. Well, that would be interesting.
It would have to be something completely not Assassin's Creed for it to follow the law of how movie-based games work.
On that note for games then, now Watch Dogs 2 had that major kind of drop of you're walking around and you find this guy and you hack into his phone and he's having a conversation.
He talks about like Unity and all that stuff, and then he works his way up to Osiris, and that is the name of an Egyptian god. So I think it's pretty much confirmed at this point, especially with all the references and talks about it, that the next Assassin's Creed game is going to be in Egypt.
Yeah.
Oh, I need that so badly.
Really? You think that could turn around the series?
I think that would be amazing.
Really?
We've talked about this before. The Red Sea could have Moses. The staffs could be like staffs of Eden and stuff like that. It's so perfect. And it's such a fresh setting for video games right now. How many video games in the past 6 years have been in Egypt?
I couldn't even name one, to be
Right?
honest.
I mean, mostly what we see is medieval. And then Assassin's Creed kind of headed out in like assassins and robes and people with swords. It's still fairly medieval, you know. But Egypt, what do you got? You got hands that slap people, and you have staffs, and then you have some swords, and you've got lots of slaves and Egypt's with whips. I mean, come on, Egypt's with whips, Egyptians with whips. I want to see Egypt. I think that's a great place for them to go, especially if they redo the game mechanics a little bit too.
Well, I remember like a few months ago, you sent me some pictures, and it looked like a loading screen for something. I think it was under codename Empire. I think, and it had pyramid in the background with towers, and it looked like an Animus version of that. Like it looked so very, very cool. Do you want, like, if this is indeed where they're going, Assassin's Creed Osiris, it's happening Egypt, if that's where they're indeed going to take it, do you want them to keep focusing on the single player, or do you think that they should introduce a little bit of the multiplayer again that they used to have?
No, it's always been about the single player.
Yeah.
That's where the story is at. They need to freshen up the gameplay a lot. Bring it back to just being a good game that everyone wants to play. They don't have to play the other Assassin's Creed games. They can pick up Osiris, the new Egypt game. They can just pick up the new Assassin's Creed, start playing it, go, wow, this is really fun, and don't shoo in any multiplayer things to get in the way. Just focus on what's going to make the game good, right?
Yeah.
Focus on that experiencing like the story for the first time, but with a new setting and all this cool stuff going down. Experience gameplay that's more varied. It's not about tailing people and eavesdropping on people all the time.
Yeah.
Proper cutscenes, not like just audio that you listen to when you walk around that other games are doing. None of that stuff.
Yeah.
Make it a good video game, please.
So, do you see, because they said that it may not necessarily be 2017 you get to see a new game, but do you think that there could quite possibly be 2017 that we get this game?
I think we're going to see trailers and footage of it first.
Yeah.
It might not even be like until winter if we get it this year.
So, with the movie being kind of and with the last Assassin's Creed, like, it's kind of on like a neutral streak right now. If you are watching E3 2017 and boom, they drop the cinematic for Assassin's Creed Osiris, it's in Egypt, he's scaling pyramids or whatever, would you forget about the movie and everything, and would you just get sucked in?
Not if they title dropped it right away.
Really?
They have to show how different it's going to be first and make you think, oh, what new game is this? It's clearly in Egypt, right?
Yeah.
But no one thinks it's Assassin's Creed until the very end when it shows something that's very Assassin's Creed feeling, like a hidden blade or someone with their cloak or like an assassin in Egyptian uniform. And then drop it the title and go, hey, guys, look how different our new game is. That's when I'll be hyped.
Check out our new game where you can join in with the Assassin's Creed Osiris. That'd be a horrible setup, that's for sure.
Oh my god. We traced Moses all the way back to the Assassin's Creed. Nope. Moses is on top of a little bush. It's on fire, and he leaps off and slaps onto the ground. Take a leap of faith.
I definitely agree with what you're saying though. How if they just set it up as, oh, check out our new title coming out next year, and it just looks so beautiful. Everything we've seen what they can do now with games, they look incredible. So to have that set up in this whole new environment where you're right, we aren't familiar with Egypt or whatever. We don't get anything past medieval with the latest games right now. So to have that whole scene and set up an atmosphere, and then at the end, Assassin's Creed Osiris, I think it would even pull the non-fans into it, because if they say Assassin's Creed right away, so many people are going to be like, oh, another one, I'm so sick and tired of
They
this.
have to show how different it is. They have to accept a new audience.
Yeah.
They have to show completely new gameplay mechanics. They have to show something really cool, a whole bunch of new stuff that you can do, and you don't look at the screen and you don't see like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
You have to see something else at 1st, and then you go, oh, hey, yeah, this is Assassin's Creed now.
Yeah.
This is what it's become, right?
So there have been some rumors that Assassin's Creed Osiris will be on the Nintendo Switch. Now, we've seen Skyrim gameplay on the Switch. How do you feel about that? Because even Assassin's Creed 3 was on the Wii U, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was on the Wii U. You were correct. I don't think a single sane person played that game. I apologize to the sane people that did play that game, but fine, yeah, sure. If the Switch ends up being successful, I mean, it's not... Nintendo isn't throwing their motion controls around this time. They're not throwing all these gimmicky things. The gimmick is that it's a handheld.
Yeah.
That transforms into a console, which is better. Okay. I think we're going to end up seeing a lot of mobile games for it.
Yeah.
More like phone-themed games that you can now play on your TV.
Indie games and stuff.
I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah.
But Breath of the Wild is going to be on it. That game looks really good. And then the controllers made for manly tier-sized hands. That's going to be... I don't know how I feel about those. But Assassin's Creed, if it can run well, if it can be on par with the PS4 version or the Xbox One version, or it's not going to be on par with PC, what am I saying? If it can be on par with the other console ones, yeah, sure. Whatever.
Really?
It can be on Switch. It could even be exclusive to Switch.
Oh, no.
No. I bet they could make it exclusive to Switch just to draw people to buying the Switch if it's going to be that good of a game.
It has to be a really, really good game. Really, really good. I mean, Breath of the Wild, like that's... I mean, it looks like a great game, but even so, people are still not even probably going to buy a Switch.
Look, everyone. Ubisoft has announced that Assassin's Creed is now Nintendo property.
Oh, no.
If you buy if you pre-order now, you can play as Mario in Egypt.
Oh, my God. Oh, no.
Assassinate people as Bowser.
Oh, that would suck.
Check out these new hidden rooms with coin blocks and Koopas everywhere.
Oh, and then they'll throw Ezio into Super Smash Brothers.
That would be cool. Very unfitting, but it would be something.
Yeah.
Link have his uniform, assassin style.
There's some fan art of, it's like Hylian's Creed kind of thing, and it's like Link dressed as an assassin. Like, it looks so cool. That I'd be okay with, but the Mario, no. I'm out.
Link like walks up behind someone's back and he looks like he's about to assassinate them, but then an ocarina comes out of his sleeve and he just starts playing a tune. Okay.
I worry about them putting something like that on the Switch to begin with. Like, I think they should keep to the main 3 consoles, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation.
PC's not a console, but okay.
Yeah, you're right. A master race.
We have to give Nintendo something.
Well, they're getting Skyrim.
They may not be. It's a title, but if they want to bring themselves back into the console race, because Nintendo's starting to fall behind, I fear, with the Wii U and the Wii kind of just being a family thing. If they want to get back into the gaming crowd, they're going to need to be able to produce titles like Assassin's Creed, and they're going to have all those cross-platform games running the same and being just as playable as their competitors.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo can do the free online thing still. You don't have to pay for it. That could be a huge plus, and maybe they could see the crowd come over to the Switch. Although I don't think that's going to happen. That's my hope.
Yeah.
But, I grew up with a Nintendo, so I guess I'm a bit biased there.
So, like, I guess for a lot of people, like Assassin's Creed, everyone's used to playing it on that big screen. With the exception of the PS Vita, you could play it on the handheld. Like, if you buy a home theater like entertainment console like the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you would rather playing it on the go, Assassin's Creed on this little smaller screen, or if you're playing this whole new scene, a game that emphasizes its landscape and its atmosphere by producing these awesome visuals, you'd want that on a bigger screen, right?
I would play it on the bigger screen.
Yeah.
And then after I experience those visuals, I would take it on the go with me.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
I mean, when I'm outside in game, I'll have to plug it into the TV.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I have to play in a small hallway, I'll take it out and I'll play it on the go on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just joking around. No, I kind of see what you mean there. But no, there are lots of games on handheld systems that were pretty open in scope.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Switch is powerful enough to bring console-styled open-world games to a handheld, they could still pull it off because the screen looks fairly large.
Yeah.
I mean, think of the Wii U gamepad.
Well, it's
If it looked better, clear, higher resolution, you're going to get to a certain point where it's like, imagine playing the new Assassin's Creed in VR. It's not a huge TV screen, right?
Yeah.
It looks better, but in reality, you're looking through two little screens in front of your eyeballs,
Mm-hmm.
which is what a handheld is. It's just one screen that you hold down by your waist.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. No,
think
you're
of how that
right.
affects scope. It's just because you have something in your hands and you're holding it at a certain place that makes it look and feel smaller. But when you put it up close, I mean, like VR, that's when it feels huge.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, so like, I mean, with the Switch, if you're going to have it in your hands as a gaming console, you can have it in your hands just like the Assassin's Creed merchandise. That's our transition for this. I'm sorry, folks. So yeah, actually, I went to EB Games and I ended up buying a whole bunch of the movie merchandise, and yeah, you bought some stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
I got Aguilar's wrist blade, which is really cool compared to the other wrist blades that I've worn. And I mean, I've just had yours to put on, where it's like I can barely fit my fist in there.
Cheap Halloween version.
Yeah, I can barely get in there. This has straps, and you peel it back, and you just put it on top of your arm. You don't have to slip in.
Really?
Yeah, I'll actually show it to you more in depth after the episode's over. But you put it on top of your arm, and you can turn it or whatever. Put it under your arm, and then you tie it up,
Really?
and it fits. It's on your arm, just like that.
Really?
It's so good. Although you have to be careful when you're looking at the boxes and stuff, because I noticed a lot of the wrist blades were crooked.
Oh.
They weren't sticking out straight. They were like off to the side.
Oh, that's
bit.
not good.
So that's kind of poopy. So, I mean, if anyone wants to buy one, check out the box first. Look into the little window. Make sure it looks good. But I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good quality. It's not leather, of course, but it's a very durable rubber.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't hurt your arm if you wear it bare arm. If you're
Really?
wearing it on costume, it probably works great. Probably looks pretty good too. I mean, like, look at that in there.
It looks awesome.
I know you guys can't see it, but the detail is really, really well done for being rubber and plastic. It's cheap, affordable, $30. Woo, it's a wrist blade. It's also my first wrist blade, so I'm very biased. Ignore everything I just said. Moving on to the Apple of Eden, I bought that. You have a much better one, so you can talk about it more. I will just say that I bought the small one. It feels very, very nice in your hands. It does feel a little cheap when you open it up.
Mm-hmm.
Inside is just, one side is hollow, brittle plastic. The other side is the same brittle plastic, but with a whole bunch of chips and lights and stuff in it. So it feels heavy once you have it together.
Yeah.
And for display, it's great. As a
Oh,
prop,
yeah.
it's also great. I don't know what else you'd use it for. So, I mean, it does its job.
Controlling people.
What do you think about yours?
You got yours before mine. Mine was coming in the mail. I got because you just got the one on the pedestal.
Yeah.
And then I got the one with the chest, and like right off the bat, the chest is awesome. It does feel like, the flimsy plastic for a chest. It feels.
It's the same with the stand there. It's like that. Looks like sandstone, but it's just
Yeah.
plastic.
Yeah. Like looking at it, it looks great. The front of the chest, where it's got kind of the lock part, it looks very much like a little kid's kind of plasticky kind of toy.
That's what I thought when I felt it. But I feel like that's just its paint job. If
Yeah.
you were to spray paint some dirt or wear on there, it would look way better.
Oh yeah, it is cool with all the cracks in the chest and everything. And then when you flip it over and look on the underneath, it's got this nice, shiny metal plate that says, mine's like number 60 something out of 2,700. That is just awesome. And then you get this certificate of authenticity with its number on there and everything
It's
like
a true
that.
collector's item.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It's one of my most favorites.
With the chest, I guess, since it's a collector's item, you can't really spray paint it and make it look worn out and look
Yeah.
better unless you bought two of them.
Yeah.
And you just have the one, and I know how picky you are about your Assassin's Creed figures and items.
Well, I mean, I don't normally open them, but I did. Like this one, when I got in the mail, it was already open. It wasn't in a special box like yours came.
Yeah, it just had like a slipcover on it.
Yeah, so I mean, I opened it. I played with it. It was fantastic. Like it just, I
just
love
imagine how it would feel to open up all your statues.
Oh, I know,
and display them.
Speaking of statues, that is another thing I got was the Aguilar statue, and like your wristblade, we had to actually spend a little bit of time looking at different ones because like his eyes were kind of weird. And his facial features too.
Yeah, I feel like the factory quality wasn't as good with the Assassin's Creed movie products. The molds are great, the bases are great, everything else looks good, but the paint jobs just didn't feel human. Right? You have to inspect them to try and find that right one, the one that looks good.
Yeah. And some of even Aguilar's wrist blades in the statues, you even noticed it, but they were kind of bent and pushed back.
What is it with his wrist blades?
Yeah, no kidding. They just don't work properly. Overall, I think it's a great statue. Like I don't have enough room to display all my statues, so when you saw it the other night, it's Aguilar on the bottom with my Assassin's Creed 3 Collector's Edition on top, and then my Assassin's Creed 3 Connor statue on top of that. Then they're all stacked on top of each other because they're in the boxes still. I can't bring myself to open these boxes, people, because they look so good in their case. They're protected. They have plastic, like, shielding around them. They're safe.
That's where we differ. I cannot choke and strain my toys inside their boxes. I have to take them out and let them breathe. And then shove them into a glass display case where you can see them from all angles.
If I had a glass display case like yours, Ruben has this awesome one with all these figures in it. It's absolutely astounding.
It's a regular Detolf, but regular Detolfs look great. Line them up and all that stuff. I guess it's because I have a horrible habit of changing things up every now and then. I like to move things around, and I like to have them displayed so I can swap statues with other statues and make them close together or far apart. When I keep them in boxes, I can't do that, and they get that horrible shadow from the top of the box.
That is the downside.
The lighting, I can't appreciate how good they look unless they're out in the open where you can see them from every single angle.
Yeah. See, now, if I had a case like yours, I could only put one statue on each shelf because all my statues are so big.
My Ezio doesn't even fit in the case.
Yeah, that is another thing you do have. The Leap of Faith Ezio statue. It looks gorgeous.
Oh, it looks awesome. I had to inspect that one too, though, because a couple of them did have bent wrist blades again. That's weird that it's on him too. Anyways, he doesn't fit. He's just half a centimeter too tall. The top of his head just barely skimmed the surface of my Detolf shelf, so I can't stick him in there. Although I could pull him out. He's on these two little pegs, and I could just have him plank casually in the Detolf, but otherwise, yeah.
The plank of faith.
But then I guess that's, what do you want to do with your collection in the future, Taylor? Are you going to sell it, or are you going to display it? Because if you're going to display it, you take them out of those boxes, you shove them behind some glass, or you dust them every few days.
Well, I mean, my place is so dusty, so I'd have to put them behind glass. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to be dusting with a feather duster kind of thing. Because, like, what you
get
have...
a paintbrush actually works great for dusting them.
Really?
It's super soft. Just get a really soft brush. And then you don't ever mark the figures up.
Really?
It just gets the dust right off. That's what I did before I moved here. Of course, this isn't very engaging for the audience to know unless they absolutely love my lore and backstory. But... yeah, that's how you care for your stuff properly.
For statues?
For statues or figurines.
That's good to know.
For toys.
On Assassin's Creed Universe, the Facebook page, I posted a picture of some of the Assassin's Creed merch, and there's lots of people that do have like the statues and stuff, so now they know how to properly maintain and upkeep their figurines.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure if they're already into opening up their boxes and stuff, they probably already know.
Probably, yeah. I don't, because I don't open up my stuff. I have wrist blades I haven't even opened up yet.
So the Assassin's Creed Heretic book is about you, not opening up your figures.
Yeah, it's all based on my whole life story, not opening up my figures at all.
And in other news, we have Taylor working on his Assassin's Creed Requiem series. Do you want to talk a bit about that? Just give people a hint of what's going on?
Yeah, so Assassin's Creed Requiem, it's just this unofficial spin-off in the timeline. It has nothing to do with the events of anything that happens in the Assassin's Creed universe, but it will have so many nods and Easter eggs and teases to Assassin's Creed characters you already know. The first episode is going to come out some point in 2017, pretty soon. but it takes place in Canada. There hasn't been a lot of Assassin's Creed stuff really happening in Canada, so it leaves so much open for story and lore and all these new characters and possibilities that could join into this universe, which again, it's not officially part of Ubisoft or Assassin's Creed. This is Geeks Creed GeekVerse, our own product that we're dishing out because Assassin's Creed is awesome and we want to expand it and help grow that universe.
Yeah, so it's just like a fan nod. It's a fun little thing to watch, right?
Exactly. It's not like Hollywood budget or super intense, but it's gonna be really, really cool, and for the diehard fans, I think they'll really enjoy it. So definitely you're gonna want to stay tuned for a lot more stuff. If you haven't seen the trailer, definitely check it out. It's on YouTube, GeekVerse Space Podcast. That's there's a teaser, and then there's the main official trailer that we threw up on there, and so that's pretty cool to check out. But that's pretty much it.
Well, then I guess that's all the time we have today, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so make sure to check us out. Facebook, Assassin's Creed Space Universe, and then GeekVerse Podcast on Twitch, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all those awesome sites. And yeah.
I feel like you're the only one that cross-promotes all that stuff.
No, we do it in GeekVerse.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
I never noticed that.
No? It's
No.
always right at the end. That reminds
Okay.
me, geekversepodcast.com, last one.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. See you in the next episode, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to Geeks Creed Episode 7 via the GeekVerse. We'll see you in the search bar.